Hello, everybody, and welcome to another MerlinCast. It is I, Merlin, and I've got Keen with me, WC Cyborg again.
Hello.
And it's been a while. We're going to catch up on some things. Now, some really big stuff has been happening the last couple weeks. I mean, as far as like for geek, pop culture, fantasy stuff, this is momentous year. Right? I mean, I talked about it a bit already, but I haven't really heard too much about what you thought about Avengers Endgame, man. I mean, I'd imagine positive, but any specifics? Hey, have the floor.
Yes, I liked it. I was kind of debating if it was one or two for me.
Okay.
In terms of my rankings for the MCU thus far. I was debating between one and two. I said that I maybe needed to watch it again. I only saw it once so far. I still got to, time travel is always so confusing.
Yes.
And I know we were talking about that before. However.
Okay.
And we're going to expound on this later.
I'm sure.
The trailer for Spider-Man
that changed things.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
So because of that, I'll say one, because now things are more clear due to that.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it was a great culmination. The Russo brothers are insane. I don't know how they pulled all of that together. The massive storyline, the massive characters. I think it's the closest representation of a comic book brought to life that we'll see. With everybody jumping in and out and everyone, how events are in comics, and you see people intermingling that wouldn't normally intermingle.
Well, all right. I'll tell you what. For a live action,
right?
I'd say, you know what? I think, to be more specific, I think it's the best representation of a big comic book crossover.
Right. That's what I mean.
You know what I mean? Like crossover books.
Right.
I think specifically though,
because crossover book,
they're
crossover
crazy
books. Yeah, it's every single person. And you realistically, you can't do that.
And you're right. And matching it to make it flow, because not all crossover comics work well. Right. And every panel is like, you jump over to this location, this dimension, timeline. This guy's talking to this person. This one, 10 people are fighting over here. Like, It can get, even reading it, sometimes you're like, whiplash.
Yeah. But to make it flow
that well,
and even still have a cohesive story and mix the drama with, still have some comedy in there, and it just little lines that were just hilarious. You're in there, you're in it, and it's drama, and you're on the edge of your seat, then you're laughing, and then you're feeling like
the heartstrings.
It's all together. I will say, well, they lifted the spoiler ban, but just in case, spoiler alert for everybody.
At this point, you're probably okay.
If you haven't seen it yet, you really don't care anymore.
Exactly.
When they killed Thanos in the first 10 minutes, I looked at my buddy and I was like, okay, this is a 3-hour movie. What? I know they said that they were going to, a lot of conclusions and tying up things. What the hell are they going to do for the next 2 hours and 45 minutes? But they explained, it came back around.
Would you say, because this is how I felt actually going into it, I did not know, because they did such a good job hiding things in the trailers, I really did not know what was going to happen in this movie. I didn't know the direction, and even, you're right, unfolding it with them killing Thanos like that right away. Throughout this movie, through a good chunk of it, I did not know where it was going to go.
Right.
And I kept guessing, like, wait, how are they going to fix this? How are they going to change that? So, for a comic book movie these days to not be that predictable and formulaic, even with the Marvel formula, that was impressive too. I was amazed by that.
I was too. And that in itself keeps you on the edge of your seat, because you're like, okay, well, what are they gonna do? Like, what's going on now? I know me, I was kind of not dreading, but weary, because I have a habit of getting sleepy a lot of times.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, it's a 3-hour movie. Will I go to sleep? Am I going to get sleep? I never got sleepy. It's funny. My same buddy that I went with a group of 3 of my friends.
Okay.
And I sat next to my one buddy, and he's the one that was talking big stuff. It's like, you better not fall asleep. Better not fall asleep. I'm going to smack you in your head if you fall asleep.
Oh, wow.
He fell asleep.
He fell asleep.
The crazy thing is, I was so into the movie, I didn't notice.
Wow.
My other friend who was in between, who was at the other end, so I'm on one end, one friend, another friend, and then the other friend on the other.
Okay.
The other friend on the other end noticed him sleep because he was going to tap him to say something. He was asleep.
Do you know at what point he fell asleep?
It wasn't that within the first hour. I think it was like around the time when after the time jump and why am I blanking on his name? Ant-Man comes back. I couldn't think of his name.
Paul Rudd, yes.
Yeah. When he first comes back, it was around that point.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, what? Seriously?
Well, all right. Well, we did hear from a gentleman we work with actually that apparently the first third of the movie was a bit slow for maybe some people.
Yeah.
Which I mean,
and I could see that in terms of the movie because it is a lot of
slow moments.
Yeah.
But it's drama. It's the heavy parts. So I feel like if you were expecting action right away, you definitely have to wait for it.
Right.
Which is kind of a lot like the first Avengers movie.
Actually, yes.
Because
a lot of that is them meeting and meeting and getting together. How are we going to work as a team?
Mm-hmm.
That's also, you think about that. It's what made Endgame great because you realize when they go back, like, wow, we really have come a long way with them as a team, them as characters, as individuals. It's like night and day.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and as much as a landmark as the first Avengers was, I mean, it blew everyone away. I bet if you go back and watch it, it definitely seems like simpler times, like a simpler movie in a lot of ways, despite how great that was.
It's crazy when you think about it, because it's a massive alien invasion, and we're saying, "Oh yeah, it was a simple time."
Well, it's true, but as far as like crossovers go, you had less characters ultimately, what 6 people plus Nick Fury and a couple others. You had one primary villain. There was a main threat, but it was an awesome alien invasion. Which, by the way, Battle in New York, I think, is still one of the best set pieces they ever did for action. Even all things considered, we'll get there, but it's still up there in terms of big action.
It is.
But you're right. It is funny to say that it's come
comparison.
The giant robotic fish with the goblin, scroll not scroll things invading was simple. But yeah, I mean, think about that. Like, they blew everyone away back when that came out, and no one ever thought that Avengers would be possible back then. And then for them to have built upon it and to create like this, which is the ultimate Avengers movie. Like I'm telling you, man, it's the stuff like that blows my mind. Like, just the time we live in where I've said this a couple times on the channel, but I'm still going to say it. I say it all the time. But like, we live in a time where like literally in the entertainment industry, they can create these worlds and bring the stuff to life that people read as kids, the comics and cartoons and everything else. They can bring it to life in a whole new way that people would have never believed possible just maybe a couple decades ago. People, this scale, the first Avengers, impossible. Infinity War and you kidding me? Beyond comprehension. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Beyond. Like, you would just think of the scope, which is why I also say that Infinity War and Endgame because just the scope of Infinity War, when you think about it, like everything that's going on in that movie, essentially, it's almost like 3 movies in one.
Yeah.
But it doesn't
feel like
it feels like it, but not at the same. Like, it doesn't feel disjointed. Like, because you have your different teams of Doctor Strange and Spider-Man and Iron Man, and then Guardians with Thor, and like all these people are mixed, and they're doing different things. You're in space, you're here, you're there, and it all like comes together.
Well, I guess on that note, I got a question for you. I know that we always say to people, if they're trying to get into these movies, you have to see most, if not all of them, or a fair amount of them to get the most out of it or to understand what's going on. But do you think that, as for a movie that kind of could stand on its own, if somebody wanted to drop in and watch these 2, they could still see it as a story that kind of holds together well and be entertaining? Because I feel like you might not appreciate some of what's going on with a lot of the characters, but not every character gets enough of a spotlight, so I feel like they're established enough. Like, Doctor Strange is there, you get a sense of who he is, but you don't really know everything about him in that movie. Like, if you didn't see his movie. I feel like, I definitely feel the way they modeled it, which is brilliant, is that you kind of have to basically watch everything anyway to get the most out of it.
If you really want a deeper dive.
But I don't think that I don't know. I don't think going into this would be that incomprehensible and not entertaining for somebody.
I don't think so. I don't think, because I think the scope of it is so big it's entertaining.
It'd be interesting. Maybe you'd watch this. Could you watch? I mean, I don't know who would go into this as their first MCU movie.
That would be crazy.
But if they did, I feel like they might be like, "Whoa, this is awesome."
I'm pretty sure there are some people that were dragged to the theater by their significant other, and they just seen it.
And maybe they might be interested. I want to learn about these characters. Where did this get started? And maybe they could experience it that way.
This is more interesting than I thought it would be, and they want to go back and.
You could just see it be that guy in the theater. It's like, okay, well, you see, he knows him, and they did this back then, and this is reference to that movie. Oh man, and that, and and the thing, I don't know if there's a way that they could do this without being pompous, which is amazing. They did this. This whole movie was just like, it's been said to be like this reward to the fans, like for the loyalty. It's fan service for in and of itself. On top of being a pretty good movie,
so many callbacks.
So many. I keep saying it's like Avengers Greatest Hits.
Right.
Like you go back to pretty much what movies you got: Avengers, Thor: Dark World,
First Cap.
First Cap was there. They go back to a couple I guess 2014.
Doctor Strange.
Guardians of the Galaxy. And they go back to some of those a
little bit. They go before actually his movie takes place.
Before, yeah, a little beforehand.
But you see the ancient one, which is cool. Like that would be a moment, somebody who didn't happen to see Doctor Strange, and like, oh, okay, because they do mention that Doctor Strange isn't here for another 5 years. So if you don't know, you're like, oh, okay, then that was the original. They might say that was the original Doctor Strange or whatever.
Kind of,
yeah.
to passively say, oh yeah,
it's like, okay, I get it. But us who have seen it's like, oh,
that that was actually, as far as surprise, that was pretty cool to see her again.
Yeah.
And the thing about her is with I think it just shows that Tilda Swinton is such a great actress. But she has such a commanding presence. I don't think she gets enough love. She really is. She was so good in Doctor Strange.
Really good.
But that performance was powerful. I love that character. But
she did the move. Which is one of my favorite parts of Doctor Strange when she does it to him.
Oh yeah, when she pushes spoilers obviously, pushes Banner out, separates Hulk. That was cool. But anyway, that whole sequence, even though spoilers for Doctor Strange, she dies at the end, and obviously she's got this whole sense where she kind of understands all time and everything at once.
So she knew when she was gonna.
But she's still able to be at this time and still know all that, but still be surprised and able to kind of see beyond that and think outside the box about herself. It's a whole nother level of just I planned this whole thing ahead with Strange. Maybe I miscalculated, maybe because he is the ultimate one. He is better than me. Eventually, I'll trust him. Even though I don't know completely what's going on here. Right. It's on faith, she kind of saved everybody. Yeah. She kind of did. Yeah. Because she told Bruce that he was the one to save everybody. And that's an interesting thing. I'm going off a rant here. I think it's for some people, they keep doing these interesting things with the Hulk. Obviously, you could do the obvious thing and have the Hulk save everybody by going one-on-one with Thanos and getting really strong and having this big fight, which I hope he still does.
Did you like Professor Hulk? I was going to ask you that.
And yeah, this is perfect. And once again, I did not see it coming, but I did not see it coming. I didn't. But I loved the direction they went because he went a completely different route, but he was still really important to saving everybody for this movie because he came up with everything. And Professor Hulk, first of all, they made him more interesting than I think he's ever been in the comics. Honestly, they made him funny. I loved the fact that he's developed, the arc from the Edward Norton movie on has basically been trying to come to terms with being the Hulk and with his anger.
That's true,
and he ultimately finally does that. And he actually is the one character after the whole fading away of everybody, he's actually kind of okay with things. Right. He's actually doing okay. Short answer, I liked it. I wish there was a little more smashing, but I still really liked it.
And I think that's people who didn't like it, that was their biggest gripe. People who are fans of Hulk, that's one of the biggest things. Hulk smashes things. And you don't get you get a sarcastic smash. I mean, that's you get a sarcastic smash.
Lackadaisical. Nonchalant smashing.
But I think for those same reasons I liked it, because like you said, I wasn't expecting it, and it's kind of like okay, there wasn't enough Hulk for you in Infinity War. Well, okay, we'll give you all
so much Hulk,
in this one.
Just not really,
just not what you think.
Action, but there was so much Hulk in this movie.
Actually, yeah, because when they go back to Avengers 1, you see traditional Hulk. I'll say
I think with one or two new action scenes,
right?
Briefly, so there was a little bit of that.
Because that part,
the side view when they came down, I don't think that was an original scene.
And they didn't show that when he slides down. That's in the movie, but when he's on the ground,
no,
that wasn't in the original Avengers either. Was it?
And that was one thing that I thought was really good. Like either they did an excellent, meticulous job of recreating the scenes because even the shots and the lighting were all similar to each of those movies,
right?
Or they had some unused shots that they shot around and re-edited. Because I was wondering, because it was like some of it was so uncanny how they blended it.
Right.
So either way, they did a good job.
And even physically, like it was funny to see because they did the 360 pan around. How they looked so much different. It's just long hair Thor is funny.
Yeah.
You got super America patriotic Captain America.
Still fresh. Yep. Still simple.
That part is funny. Just stuff like that. Like that's another thing that's fan service for people who, because if you're watching it, that's a deeper meaning. When I could do this all day. Yeah.
I know who you are. I know myself.
Yeah, I was there. I get it.
And he also knows it's gonna be tough to take him out because he's actually so clear-headed at this point.
Yeah,
he's almost stubbornly stupid.
Yeah,
he's like, I'm about America, and that's it.
I'm
a really good guy, and can't see clearly. Can't break out through my ethics. Because
you realize this is pre-Bucky, and that's when that shift starts with him. His
the graying
of his ideology
point of view. Yeah, exactly. Which makes sense because Winter Soldier, he's starting to kind of get into assimilating with society, and that's kind of his arc, which they do in the comics, but I don't know if they've really. I don't know if they've ever done it as well as they have in the movies. Like Chris Evans' Captain America is just so good.
And that's great.
I know this is going to be half Endgame, but
right.
That's fine though.
Kind of figured that.
But yeah, we'll get back to the ending and stuff later. I'm not done talking about the good stuff.
Right.
See, I already watched the review on the channel, by the way, but I still could talk more about this.
Right.
You know who else I really... Okay, actually... Man, it's so hard to say favorite things about this movie.
Yeah,
I'm really realizing I love it more and more.
It's a lot.
But you know what character I like the most in this movie?
What?
It might surprise you. Just give me a guess. Might surprise you.
I'm going to go out of left field. Rocket.
Rocket, actually, now I think about it, probably didn't get to do as much as
some
people. No, Rocket's always cool. I love Rocket. But Thor.
Oh, so you like Fat Thor, as they call him.
Like, sad, depressed Thor. Like, it was funny, kind of, but it was also really touching. And I'll tell you why.
I do like the scene with him
because,
and his mom.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. Like, the fact that... I mean, it was kind of comical a little, but the fact that you could see Thor, who is really like the most, larger-than-life god, he's gone through so much, lost everybody.
Yeah.
And then they built him up so much in Infinity War, and we see him trying to, he kills Thanos right away. He really takes the blame of what happened completely on himself. And people might joke about the whole depressed thing, but really? You can see that in his character.
Talk about PTSD.
Oh, like seriously? I thought it was kind of well done because... Yeah, considering the fact he's like a Norse god, I could see that happening.
Yeah.
They did it's kind of funny, but they did an accurate representation of what depression can be with the beard long and unkempt.
Yeah.
Got the beer gut going on, like hardcore. But when he gets to deal with his mom and that scene with his mother, getting to kind of have that moment with her, which was really awesome because one of my gripes with Thor 2 was I thought they kind of killed her too quickly.
Very quick.
So that was kind of a way to bring her back, Renee Russo. So many people came back for this
great,
too.
Yeah, she did great.
She had a fantastic scene, and I like the fact that he's still. Yeah, that's right. Him and Rocket. Yeah,
hilarious.
He still was still not sure of himself, still falling to pieces, but he slowly gets through, and seeing him kind of slowly come out of it was really well done. I think all of it was great with him, actually.
I liked it.
I liked the dual wield. Eventually.
I knew it was coming. My buddy, he was awake by then. He soon as we see them go back to Asgard, and he's nudging the whole movie's nudging me. He's gonna get Mjolnir. He's gonna get Mjolnir, and then he's gonna do a wheel. Okay. That part was great.
He's gonna
upgrade
the dual wheel.
Yep. And I do like that they address, the temptation of wanting to go back.
Oh,
like they always do with time travel, wanting to change. And when he wanted to tell his mom that they were, because I think at this point she was about to die, like that day she was going to die,
and she was all like, "No,
she's like, no,
this is your time. Like, I'm going to live my time when I'm supposed to." And it's just like, talk about powerful stuff,
right?
Like and I want to put this out there because I think that people obviously get swept up in the action and everything, the spectacle, but there's some really good thematic stuff in this movie, though. Yeah. And that you're right. That temptation to change the past, but not.
That was a subtle showing of the strength of a woman, a strength of a mother. Yeah. Because she knew that this isn't the Thor from my time,
but this is still you.
But this is still you're still my son.
You've been through a lot,
and I can see you're going through something. Let's talk. Like that's a
good motherly trait. That's a good thing. You're right. That you wouldn't think it represented that much in a Marvel movie, but it really does.
It does.
That's good.
It does. There's a lot of deep family themes in Hawkeye and his family.
Oh,
like that.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, like it. even the Avengers themselves, like they could be considered family, and
they're breaking up with loss and grief and
the whole grief, and then losing Tony, and of course this is still spoiler. Losing Tony, which I was right. Me and my buddies were, because we knew like a major person was going to die, and we have narrowed it down to Cap or Tony, Iron Man, and I said Iron Man because I'm thinking practically, as much as we love Robert Downey Jr., he's not going to want to keep doing these forever. So
wants to do some other movies maybe,
and he probably is the height exactly. So they're like, yeah. So that's why I said him. My buddy was saying Cap because
I'd give him a 0.5 for that.
Yeah,
in a way.
Yeah. So he was kind of right. He was saying Cap because he was thinking thematically with the story. Mm-hmm. Cap doesn't have anybody. Like he has the Avengers, but family, everybody's gone.
He could sacrifice himself and not feel like he has anything to lose.
Exactly. Especially since the more he keeps thinking about Agent Carter, he keeps thinking about her and wanting to go back, and then he kind of did that. I still have to watch for that because I'm still.
That's. I'm trying to keep this semi-organized.
Right.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I do want to talk about my few minor gripes eventually, but let's try to get a few more positives out of the way.
Right.
Okay. Well, Thor I thought was really well done. I mean, everything was well done, but Thor really stood out to me, and for the most thematically for his character, the way they handled out Cap, sent him off was great.
That was great.
Fantastic, solid, and Tony too. Like Tony's like obviously his final moment.
That
like,
was
that.
Yeah.
I'm Iron Man. It's like that was.
You gotta love it. You gotta bookends.
That the
you ended how you begin it. Yeah.
Oh, that was just.
I'm inevitable. Well, I am Iron Man.
So beat that. That's like that's gonna be cinematic history or something. I hope. That's really good. Okay, so that scene was really good.
And I am a fan of we won Mr. Stark over I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark. Because we discussed that in Infinity War, how that was a blatant heartstrings moment that they put in there.
Oh,
because
for Spider-Man, yeah.
Everyone else is fading away in an instant, and he's like, for 5 minutes, I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark. No, something's wrong.
Well, okay, there's movie magic. Okay, cinematic, movie magic, and of course, maybe you're trying to say that because Spider-Man is sort of the center of Marvel Comics in a way. Maybe he's got a little more.
There's theories online is that he sensed it earlier than everyone because of the Spidey sense.
But that would delay his. You don't like that.
There's a little bit more foundation to it, but I still don't like it.
Okay, well, as far as but
you like we won. That hit me. That hit me on the heartstrings.
Mr. Stark?
We won. Did you hear me, Mr. We won?
Oh, and actually, it was something that my lady was asking me. She was wondering that of all the people that were gathering around, Spider-Man. Oh, that's right. Rhodey was the first person to find him, right?
Yes.
Which I think is interesting. The way they did, I believe, was War Machine, which makes sense, is his best friend, and then it was Spider-Man. Right? Yeah. Spider-Man, and then it was Pepper.
Yeah.
And then other people started to gather around.
Yeah.
Do you think that, and I'm sure that this will lead into our later conversation, but that Peter Parker took his death harder than anybody else?
Yes.
Even more than Pepper. Because that's the one, when she brought that up, I was like, I feel like Pepper would, but Pepper seemed almost accepting, like, I get it, which surprised me.
The only thing is, I think Pepper took it hard because Pepper's his wife, and she's been with him for years. But I think in the back of Pepper's mind, she knew this was coming. Mm-hmm. Once he put the suit back on, and she knew that they were trying to make everything right again, she knew in the back of her mind that was it.
Like when he talked about time travel,
right? Mm. And then when he was like, okay, we got to do. I figured it out. I'm gonna go tell him, and I'm just gonna do this. This is the last time. She knew.
So she knows him so well.
Yeah. So I think she, what would it say? Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Sure. I think that's what she was doing. Okay. So when it happened, obviously she's upset, but in the back of her mind, she knew. Peter is like,
he can't handle it
because he
doesn't know Tony as well, and maybe
in his mind it's like, I met Iron Man, but Iron Man is Mr. Stark, but Mr. Stark is like. It's like losing Uncle Ben again. Exactly.
He's got that trauma with that again. And it's also like Iron Man's my hero, my new father figure mentor. Plus he's like the person I aspire to be, the invincible Iron Man, as he's called. Exactly. Nothing can touch Mr. Stark. He's awesome. And you see your hero get hurt, taken down. That would be a lot for a kid to handle.
Especially, and he's a kid. So, although he's been through a lot, maybe he's only a kid, but still. Yeah. So, I had to look up, when they do that's a great shot too. Mm-hmm. When they show everybody watching the float. Did you know who the kid was? I had to look it up.
I confess, I didn't know. My one friend was like, "Who's that kid?" I'm like, and he went by so fast. I'm like, I can't figure out which, by the way, I guess hardcore credit to people who knew who he was, but it's been like it's been 6 years.
He looks nothing like that when he did in the movie.
Like if maybe a line would have been nice. Like it was cool, but I'm like, I almost like they put him in there just so people could look like, oh, that character was played to this character from Iron Man 3. I'm like, all right, you know what? I do have a gripe. I got a gripe. Okay, first of all, that is cool, right? Sure, but it doesn't make any sense. Do you know why?
Why not?
Because one of the things I did not like about Iron Man 3 is I know that Tony was going through stuff at the time.
I didn't like.
He was. I hate Iron Man 3. Yeah. I didn't like what they did with the Mandarin. I wish that he was the real. I didn't like the joke, but that's another conversation. He was an asshole to that kid. Okay, he was a dick to that kid for no reason. The kid was trying to help him the whole time.
And the kid, if it wasn't for the kid, he would have been out of here.
And he was just like, being a jerk to the kid. I did not like that. Like, he was an asshole to this little kid that saved his ass, and this kid came to like.
And then at the very end, he gave him the helmet. He gave him something.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I only saw the one I didn't like. But so much I don't like about that.
But I mean, like Tony was always a little bit of a dick sometimes, and I thought it was a little inconsistent with some of the movies, but I never could get over how much of an ass he was to that kid. And then he's going to show up to the funeral. I mean, it's fine, but I was like, it just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me that, like, as an Easter egg. So yeah, okay, that's a minor gripe I have about Endgame. Like, why is that kid there? Like, there could have been another character, like maybe, I don't know. You know what? I would have preferred a reformed Justin Hammer be there or something. That would be more interesting. But Anyway, no, I did not know who it was originally.
I didn't. I had to look it up
I thought
we're naming everybody as I'm like, who the heck is that kid? And then it's funny because in the car and we saw it. It came out Saturday night. So but who was the kid? And that's the top. Who was the kid?
Who was the kid?
Who was the kid?
So they phrased it just like that.
In Endgame. So apparently that was a hot topic.
They did that on purpose.
Yeah, I think for that reason, so you can Google it. Speaking of Google, did you see the thing that they did for the
yes
with Thanos and that was awesome.
Shout
out to Google for that. Yeah, that was great.
Google's awesome with their stuff with the search engine. What do they call? What is the Google? What's it called? There's the thing.
It's like Doodles or something.
The Google Doodle or Noodle. But yeah, it was also a widget with the snap on.
Right.
I wanted to make it stop. Like it kept every time it just kept destroying all the pages. I'm like, okay, well this is cute, but you have to literally refresh to make it stop.
Yeah.
Like, fading away that was cool, guys. That was I agree. Shout out to Google for that.
That was great.
They're really with it with the times.
They are.
It's popular, aren't they?
They are.
I loved Thanos' sword, his double-edged sword.
That was great.
That fight with Cap tearing up the shield. Oh man,
that was great. I do like that we got to see more of the hand-to-hand with Thor. With Thanos.
Well, Thor too.
Well, yeah, with Thanos. I know a lot of people wanted it to be Hulk because they wanted the retribution from Infinity War.
The 1-2 punch out, the karate chop, pincher points.
Right. So,
which I liked because it was so precise.
It was.
He just he knew where to hit Hulk to just take him out. Like bam, bam. That was
Hulk had never been hit that precise before.
Hulk had never really fought somebody that was that adept at fighting.
No.
Think about it. Like
he met his match literally.
Like Thanos is probably about as strong as he was. Maybe not quite as strong, but with the technique, he probably warrior guy, probably could have. Yeah, Hulk's not really known for his fighting technique.
No. He's just strong.
He's barrage.
Stronger than anybody, which some people were still upset about because theoretically, Hulk, the madder he gets, the stronger he gets.
Yeah.
So which is part of what makes him incredible, is because it's hard to beat him because if he's losing, he gets mad. If he gets mad, he gets stronger, and he eventually. He eventually will beat you.
Which is why usually people go after him when he's Banner and try to prevent him, or they try to mind control him, or they try to take him out before he can get angry enough,
right?
Knock him out or something. So you're right. If he's completely unleashed, free, Hulk is pretty much always going to come out on top.
Yeah.
Unless somebody's way more powerful than him to begin with, won't give him time.
And that's what the people who combat that theory say, that he didn't have a chance because. Now, that's the thing that made me want to watch Infinity again, because my friend that supported that was saying that he didn't have a chance to because soon as when Thanos put him down, he went back to Bruce.
True.
So he didn't have a chance to even comprehend what he went through to get mad and be Hulk.
I mean, I've never read a Hulk comic where that happened, where Hulk was actually afraid and wouldn't come out or something.
I did. That was totally different.
That was different. I don't know if I totally, but that is a cool idea. Talk about selling your villain. He's so scary.
Yeah,
the Hulk doesn't
want to fight.
That's great. That's cool. Well, all right. Have we covered everything with just talking about Endgame?
I think we could go forever, but I think we got the biggest points. I loved it. Top one.
Top one, because I say between them and Infinity. I'm still a huge fan of Homecoming, though.
Homecoming is great.
As far as a standalone, but I guess before we move on, maybe a few things we didn't like. The time travel thing,
it's confusing.
Is a bit. I mean, they kind of established their own rules to make it work,
right.
And they did say, I think, if they put the stones back to where they were after everything, it just solves everything. But I'm still, and I'm not the only person that wondered about this. People were asking, wait a minute, Captain America going back, being with Peggy. Was that an alternate timeline? Was it that one visit? Did he stay with her the whole time? Because in my mind, I thought that he would have went back to maybe visit her spend a day or maybe some time with her, but wouldn't have had a whole life with her, because I think if he did that and it was on the main timeline, it would have changed. It could have potentially changed so many things.
And that's what I'm saying. But according to their theoretics, it doesn't. The only way it would support that is alternate timelines.
But they said that if they go back and put all the stones back, it will just have the one timeline again. Which is...
Oh, so you're saying that was the last stone? Like he lived his life with Peggy.
And then went back.
And then put the stones back. Is that what you're...
You know, I wasn't thinking that, but that would make more sense. Like he lived that life, and then he put it back together so it didn't happen, so that he could have the experience, but then set everything back to the way it was.
Right.
Which I guess technically he could do, because he
just came up with that right now.
All right, well,
that would make sense.
You know, all right. If that's your theory, that actually fixes it for me.
I'm gonna roll with it. Then.
Okay, that actually kind of works.
That he lived life,
but
and then once he got, or maybe she ends up dying anyway.
He knows that.
Yeah. And once it's around that time, he goes back and puts everything back.
I also kind of liked the idea that maybe Cap went around and experienced all the different things that he missed out, like jumped around, different things, lived a life, caught up on all the Star Trek and Star Wars, like Falcon told him to do.
Right.
So I'd like to think he caught up, made up for all the lost time, and then just came back and was an old man and got to retire.
That makes sense now.
So yeah, I actually like your impromptu
and
theory.
It just hit me just now, because prior I was thinking that he would have put the stones back and then just lived with Peggy.
Mm-hmm.
Just lived with Peggy. But then that wouldn't... That way it doesn't make sense, because...
We could have changed things, just... Because I know that you're obviously might be thinking a little too hard about the time travel stuff, but... The way I look at it, you go back and change anything, who knows what effect it could have.
Right.
Which is why
traditionally the way of thinking with time travel.
Exactly.
But they're saying, no, it only changes...
by creating an alternate timeline.
Yeah.
Which is why...
Or they weren't even saying that on it, because that's what Bruce combated that with the Ancient One, because she was saying that that's what will happen. It'll mess up our future if I give you this now. And then she explained if you do that, it'll set off a court. Like, this is what's supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
If I give you this stone right now, it's going to shift and go over here.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, well, not if we do what we need to do and give it back right at the right moment, everything falls back in line.
Exactly.
So, thinking that, though, if you do that and then everything falls back in line,
mm-hmm.
Cap shouldn't be old, should he? Or does that matter? Or if he ages with the same theory that we just came up with, if he just lives and then says, okay, I had a full life with Peggy,
could he come?
Now I'm going to put the stones back.
Then he never would have gone back, and he shouldn't be old.
Right. Or does that not matter, because at that point he's out of time anyway.
True.
So his age would stay the same.
I'm
gonna roll with that.
Okay.
Because we could literally, I've done this with Flash and Savitar and that time travel. I literally gave myself a headache. I watched the explanation episode. You'll get to it.
Okay.
Because he's not there yet, people.
I'm in. I just started season 3.
Yeah.
Which is starting
to
get.
Is that Savitar? What season? Where are you at?
Okay, I'm at the point.
Sidebar. Sorry.
Spoilers for Flash for anybody who hasn't watched it. He just basically they're doing Flashpoint. He went back and saved his mom, and now he went back a couple times, and he just told everybody, "Okay, I've been messing with stuff. I'm not going to do it anymore." Yeah. And I don't like it, because things are all different from the way it was before.
Yeah.
And I don't. Super sidebar. Rival is lame.
Oh.
His costume is lame, even by that show's standards.
Yeah.
I hate that guy.
Yeah.
It was lame.
It was lame.
But
So Savitar's coming up.
I guess.
If it's not this season, if it's not season 3, it's season 4.
I don't even know who that is, but is that a villain?
He's the main villain. So you'll know. Oh, you'll know.
I'll know.
You'll
okay.
Know. When you get there, go ahead.
Well, by the way, so far, just to let you know, so far, season 1 and 2 of Flash, I thought were equally really good. I really liked them both. Like, I thought season 1 was so good getting through it. But I don't know. Season 2 was different, but it was still just about as good. I think the part of me is like, I really liked Zoom. Like, the twist with Zoom was good.
Yeah.
He was a really good villain.
Yeah.
But I thought he was a little more... I guess they both were kind of one note, but they were just well done. I really liked evil Harrison Wells, Thawne. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever going to quite top him because he was just
He's just great. You'll see as it goes. He's... what's Tom Cavanaugh, I think his name is?
I think so.
He's great.
He's a good actor.
He's great.
Cause I just loved how the whole, just kind of like being the evil mentor figure. Like he kind of like
he's evil. He hates him, but he has to be his mentor.
He's also like, I also grew to kind of love you, and that makes the betrayal so much worse because I kind of started to like you and everybody here. Like,
but I still hate you. But I need you because I need to get back. So I have to make you better.
They're just entwined.
I don't want you to be better, but I have to make you better for my own sake.
They're entwined with destiny.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, it's silly, but it's cool. It's kind of cool.
It's so comic booky.
It's so comic booky, but that's great. But anyway,
yeah.
Time travel stuff
Time travel, there's somebody on YouTube, you gotta love it. They just put that clip of the explanation of a time travel near the end of that season. He's the big bad. There's time travel element in there. I don't want to give spoilers, but I literally watched that over and over until I gave myself a headache trying to figure it out. I couldn't get it. So I've learned, and they even say in that season, like, you can't. They explain. Yeah, they was like time travel is you can't. It's a line they say like you can't even you can't explain it. Don't even try to quantify it. It's different every time you do whatever. So. Yeah.
Well, somebody pointed out to me before we finally move on into Spider-Man, I guess, post-Avengers topic. Somebody pointed out basically with the splitting off of the alternate timelines things with MCU, you know what that's reminiscent of? They basically did the DBZ, Future Trunks.
Yes.
That's the way they explained it then.
That makes sense.
It's a very similar one.
Yep.
Which I always kind of liked better than just the constant closed loops because I think it makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Well, going to close out on Endgame discussion by continuing on with we recently watched the new Spider-Man trailer.
Because Endgame was not the end of Phase 3 as people thought.
No, it's not.
I know we said we were moving on, but one thing, not about the movie.
Okay.
When you saw it, was the theater pretty packed?
Oh, yeah. I saw it opening night like at 6 o'clock.
Did people stand up and clap when they got to the end, the end when they do the Avengers and that scene?
You mean like the
which
very
they
end?
say is the post-credit scene. Where they show like the clips of everybody and then it's their signature and
I don't know. I was so enthralled by the end. I don't remember if people were cheering for that, but people were cheering and crying.
People
and laughing
cheered at the end for that, and then when it got to because they saved Iron Man for last. That's when people stood up. And,
I did like that where they would kind of the silhouettes for everybody and the artwork for everyone and and they literally had everyone that was in the movie, which is practically. Most of the people that were ever in any of these movies all get their moment. And, of course, it does end with Iron Man. That was great. I loved that, yes.
So people stood up for that, and when I went, they were clapping and standing up. But, yeah, so people say that, well, later, after the movie...
that was lame.
Which we didn't... Yeah, they didn't do a post... I didn't expect a legit post-credit scene.
Get post-audio.
Because, it's... What I thought was the end of the era.
So, it doesn't need it. Which they said, and I remember reading about it before it was ending, and I remember the article was like, there is no post-credit sequence, but there is something. And I'm like, well, now I have to stay. That was the
something, yeah.
It was just, some hammering an anvil, which might be a Thor-related thing.
Yeah.
Which is so vague. I'm like, and there's no announcement, so I'm like, literally, who knows? Maybe that could... Actually, you know what? I think I know what it might have been. I thought it was a Thor thing, but you know what that could have just been? It could have been an homage to Tony making his first suit. That actually makes more sense.
Yeah, it does.
Did,
Tony took took the MCU to where it is now.
So and it just started with a guy in a cave just hammering away.
Yeah.
So that actually is kind of cool.
An homage.
And a little, garnish at the end.
Yeah.
The masterpiece of delicacy.
But now, to segue, now we know that the Endgame is actually not the end of Phase 3.
No. Is Spider-Man going to be the end, or is it going to be Guardians?
They say, yes, Spider-Man is.
Okay.
Because Guardians will be Phase 4 within that. So, yeah, Spider-Man Far From Home will be the last Phase 3 movie. And looking at the trailer, we see why. Good job for them with Tom Holland doing a little disclaimer that if you haven't seen Endgame.
Did you like the fact it came from him?
It was great.
The spoiler guy?
Yeah. Yeah. Because he is notoriously for, air quotes, leaking the spoilers.
He's just really bad at keeping his mouth.
You have to see it. So, spoiler alert.
For the trailer.
If you haven't seen the trailer, stop. Stop. Go on YouTube and watch it right now. Stop it. Stop this recording. All right. Now, you're back.
Now's the time.
So now I can say they immediately start off with Tony's death.
They just leave. Oh, after what happened.
That's
Tony.
they had to put that disclaimer because of it.
Well,
immediately it's about his death.
But, it all right. Okay. Do you think that was wise? Because, before we answer, let me, okay, I know this is part of the formula which they've established, which obviously works. But one thing I really liked about Homecoming is that it was mostly a standalone movie.
I mean, yeah. Aside from Tony and Happy being in it,
but they weren't like crucial. Like you didn't have to understand everything about those characters. Right. So I liked that. So I was kind of wondering. I kind of wanted this to be more of a standalone thing, which was what I originally thought.
Right.
Now it's going to be very much obviously him dealing with that.
Right.
So how do you feel about that? Do you think it's at least to put in the trailer as a selling point that this is it's more of a direct sequel to Endgame rather than another Spider-Man adventure? I
like it. However, it would have been nice that it'd be a surprise.
Yeah, and that's what I was like. I feel, and more so the other thing they say, which is regarding Mysterio,
right?
Which I don't know if we totally should buy because it's Mysterio, but the idea that he might actually be like a good Mysterio from another dimension that actually has powers because of the snap. It alters stuff.
Of the multiverse,
which I'm like, okay,
which they. Thinking about it, they had to introduce because it would justify the shows. Because the shows are supposed to be, the same actors are in the shows on the Disney streaming service.
So that's right. So they might have a little more freedom. Like if they're not going to be in the main movies, maybe they could pop up.
This is why, things, which is why they had that anomaly with Loki disappearing.
Yes,
because he should be dead. So how is he in the TV show? So that's why.
Now we know.
Because now we know. So I think that's why, thinking big picture, why they had to introduce the multiverse. Because then, like you said, it's more freedom for them to they could stay as close to the movies as they want or not.
Or not.
Yeah. So it gives them that freedom because. If you noticed, did you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Are you caught up on that?
I didn't really watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I'm caught up. And I say that in the beginning, it was really close to the movies, like around the events of even in especially around
Winter Soldier.
Yes, the Sokovia reports and all that is heavily Hydra being exposed and everywhere, and Shield dismantling. All of that's in Agents of Shield.
Cool,
but then it later
deviated.
Yeah, they're kind of on a whole another area. So I think that maybe that's what they were thinking. And then, like I said, the multiverse explains that, or validates that, rather. So do you think that they showed too much in the trailer? Showing the multiverse and it dealing directly with Endgame? Was that too much?
That was, for me, a little much. Like, it got me thinking, but I'm a huge Spider-Man fan,
right.
And I love these movies. I'm going to see it.
Right.
I was already excited for the first one. Like, I want to be a little surprised.
Right.
Like, I hate it when trailers give away too much.
Everything, yeah.
Like maybe like a hint, like a picture of him. So if in case let's say for instance you're a young kid, you haven't gotten caught up on all the Avengers movies, but you like Spider-Man, you just saw Homecoming.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
That's
like,
true.
Deal more with the after effects of your own movie. And the reason I want to focus on this is because I think because they're going to be entering a transitional period, it's kind of like the end of an era.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we need to kind of establish these characters as their own again, like they're going to be restarting another phase so we can build up on again.
Because it's going to be a different Avengers. It's going to be a different team. Yeah.
But so we need to kind of establish more core movies. Like, you know how Iron Man really had like at least 2 solid movies before Avengers was even really a thing.
Right.
So I just think they need to do that before they figure out where they're going next. So yeah, in the trailers, on one hand, I think it was a little bit much for this one. But I find that idea interesting. Do you think makes Mysterio's line go? Because someone brought that up today, and I was like, I got really excited thinking about the idea that he could just be a good version of Mysterio with powers, but then I'm also like, but I loved the fact that, okay, the Vulture was old school traditional villain from Spider-Man that was pretty much the same. They did a really good job with this basic character, but he was still essentially the same. But they subverted the expectations with that awesome twist,
creating layers of
really
his motivation of becoming a villain.
Like, I love the Vulture, but he's kind of a throwaway villain for most people, and they made him one of the best villains.
Yeah.
So I'm like, with Mysterio,
created depth.
Yeah, like with Mysterio, could they? I mean, should they stay super true to it, or could they play with it and still make him really interesting?
That'll be hard to tell, at least because it'll depend on if they're going for a movie twist or they're going to
build up.
Like, are they going to appease for moviegoers or appease for comic book people? Because if they appease moviegoers, that's a good twist to be like, oh, he was actually creating these disasters so he could be the hero.
Which is more like Mysterio.
Yes. However, because of that, comic book fans would be like, I see this twist.
Like coming, because I know who Mysterio is.
It's a mile away.
And the thing I loved about the Spider-Man Homecoming is that Vulture twist. I mean, like, I remember in the theater, everybody gasped.
Yeah.
Literally, hardcore comic book fans did not see that coming because the Vulture was not her dad.
Yeah.
In the comics. So it was like, what?
I was like, what?
that was great. Spoilers. But that was awesome. But, yeah, man. So for Mysterio, I don't know. Like, he's another great, classic, goofy villain. So
he looks great. I'll say that. I was wondering how the fishbowl would look on screen.
Dude, like, and this is, I'm telling you, ever since Thor came out, and they were able to make those costumes look great, those goofy costumes. Ever since they were able to make Loki look cool, I'm like, they could make anything.
His helmet is ridiculous, and they actually made it look
good.
Yeah.
So, but Mysterio looks awesome.
Yeah.
He looks awesome. But, you know, he has to be the villain, because if he wasn't, who is?
That's a good point.
I mean, though I remember somebody, I think when the first trailer came out, they suggested that those elementals,
I heard that too,
Hydro Man and Sandman, which I'd be cool with. I'd be cool with that because Sandman's cool, and Hydro Man's never gotten a theatrical run yet. And in the comics, they work together and hate each other, and then they come together to form a giant mud monster. So, I mean, I'd be cool with that. By the way, Hydro Man, I don't know how much you know about him. He's actually like a really powerful villain, and he's like a psychopath.
Really?
He's like really scary. He like, I'll never forget in the animated series, he like stalks Mary Jane, and like he's like a creepy stalker. Obsessed with her. Yeah, he's just a guy made of water, but he's like really creepy.
That is creepy.
Yeah, he's creepy.
I don't know. I would say I know more about Sandman than Hydro Man.
Sandman's a classic. Classic. But yeah, I'd be cool if they were the bad guys. But I mean, there needs to be some villains.
That's true. And yeah, if they put both of them in, and I hope they find a way to do it and not make it like
bloated.
Yeah, too loaded. Like is that Spider-Man 3?
Yep.
Too much. Too much.
Is 3 villains too much?
Green Goblin, Venom, and Sandman.
Venom.
Too much.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's a terrible song.
But it's so catchy.
It is catchy.
It's ridiculous, but it's so catchy.
Oh, man. Whatever. But, yeah, I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, it made me even more excited. I was excited in the first trailers, but this, like, kind of, it, like, blew my mind because now it's like a whole nother movie. The expectations
shifted.
Yeah, because, like, everyone, maybe that's why I said maybe they should have kept that twist out, that is right after Endgame.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm probably, like, majority of people were thinking that this took place, like, a little before or maybe a little after. Kind of like you were saying, it would be like its own thing, like a direct sequel to Homecoming.
But this is like right after Endgame.
Right.
Pretty much.
Because they were saying like the scene in Infinity War when he was on the bus, you know, and the hairs stick up, like that was him coming back from the trip.
Which could have worked.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, like everybody else. So they could have like kept that suspense up, and then when you get there, it's like, oh wow, no, this is right after Endgame.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it'll be good though. I'm excited for. See, all right. I guess to wrap up this part of the conversation, we've talked a lot in previous podcasts about what we think the future of the MCU is going to be, kind of moving on to different phases, because the kind of like the main core Avengers they're gonna have to go away and be recast, and they're gonna probably have to focus more on Fantastic Four and X-Men for a while.
Right.
Are you like super excited? How long do you think it would be before you could be excited to see like a new version of Avengers? Because I'm personally think they should put it down for a while, and I would be cool seeing build up these other heroes again. Like if Spider-Man just had movies for a while, Tom Holland's young enough, I'd be excited for whatever his movies are going to be for a while.
That's a good point. Yeah.
You know, like or Black Panther, Doctor Strange. Like I'd be cool with just more solo adventures from them that aren't building up Avengers right now.
And I think at this point they have enough to do that. Like you said, at least 2 more. Well, now that Far From Home's coming out, but at least 1 more Spider-Man, at least 2 more Black Panthers, at least 2 more Doctor Stranges.
Maybe Captain Marvel.
Another Captain Marvel at least. I'm not too familiar with her. They already did the Skrulls in the first one, and that was the only villain I knew.
You didn't really like that very much, actually.
I didn't like that they were.
They took away the.
Yeah, because I mean it's a nice twist. Like I was saying, they went for the movie twist that these are actually good guys.
But then you're like, but they're
man. Not. Like even though like they would say like not all Skrulls are bad, fine, but you put Talos in there. Talos is like the general of the evil Skrulls. It's like him and Super Skrull. That's the 2 evil. When you look up evil Skrull in the dictionary, Super Skrull and Talos. I guess that'll be in Captain Marvel 2. It'll be Super Skrull.
Which hopefully they'll have Fantastic Four by then.
Maybe.
I hope.
Hopefully, because hopefully they'll start building them up, building X-Men up. I am excited, but yet kind of weary because I've been thinking in the back of my head, passively, who would they cast for either of them, for Fantastic Four or X-Men? It's hard, especially X-Men. It's going to be hard, especially if a new Wolverine. Well, I mean, Hugh Jackman is Wolverine.
X-Men's still like in the process of ending in our minds because Dark Phoenix hasn't even been released yet. So it'd be weird to just like, okay, Dark Phoenix comes out and then next year we have X-Men. It's too soon.
So they will wait for that.
That's why I think Fantastic Four they should focus on first, and they could maybe be the center of the new Avengers.
Fantastic Four, yeah, I could see that.
Because I mean, if we wanted to,
because you need another Franklin Reed,
Reed Richards.
Reed Richards, there it is. You need another smart guy because Tony's gone.
Tony's gone.
So you have him and Bruce eventually. because they have the deal. There can't be any solo Hulk movies.
Yeah,
so.
there needs to be a solo Hulk.
Yeah,
he needs one.
But because of the stupid deal with the studio, it can't be.
Is that still a thing?
Yeah, that's the reason.
Oh.
Which is why basically, Ragnarok was Thor and
Hulk,
like, but it was great.
But they had to call it Thor. But
yeah,
it was the Thor Hulk movie.
It's pretty much which was awesome. My favorite Thor movie.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you're gonna need the smart guys that figures everything out. And aside from Doctor Strange, like he's smart, but it's more on the magic side of things.
Yeah, you need more of that hard science.
Yeah. So and Bruce can't do because like he said in Endgame, it's not his time travel wasn't his expertise.
You can't just say, okay, you're a science guy. Yeah, but mine's like what nuclear physics.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's pretty much my main thing.
So Reed would be perfect for that type of thing.
And I know that since a lot of them are for both teams are kind of big parts of the Avengers, if you could get some members of the Fantastic Four, some of the X-Men, that would kind of fill in the gaps missing for Cap and Thor and Iron Man to kind of focus on, like filling those spots. And if you can make them these more iconic characters the center and we'll establish them, I think you'll be in decent shape.
I think so too.
So, but once again, it's going to take time to do that.
Yeah. But, at this point, nobody's going anywhere.
No,
I don't see it stopping or slowing down. If anything, is an indication that it's getting crazier with how fast Endgame, how much it's selling. So it doesn't seem like it's slowing down anytime soon.
Beat Titanic.
Yes.
But has not beaten Avatar yet.
It's going to beat it.
You think so?
It's 11 days that already beat Titanic. It's going to beat Avatar.
Nice.
It's going to beat it.
So that means James Cameron's got to get that Avatar
He's
too.
Gonna be, yeah.
Well, I'm coming back to the king of the world again.
Yeah. It's going to beat it.
Best Oscar speech ever?
I think so.
I'm king of the world.
It's definitely up there.
Wow.
Definitely. You got to know James Cameron's best, though. Like, you had the number 1 and number 2 top grossing movies in the history of movie film ever, and now you've been dethroned.
He'll be back.
Do you think Avatar 2 can beat it, though? It's hard to speculate because we don't know anything about it, but...
Well, this is the thing. I want to say... There's a part of me that wants to say no, but James Cameron is pretty much definitely the quality over quantity director. Mm-hmm. His filmography has some of the biggest movies ever. And he did
Which is why he doesn't have 6. To put out... Yeah, he doesn't have to.
Let's say it's like Aliens, Terminator 2. He's only done those movies.
Titanic, Avatar,
it's like literally he's done like 6, 7 movies, but they're like some of the biggest movies ever. So it's like I want to say no one cares about Avatar anymore, but he invented a whole new camera to create Avatar.
Really?
Yeah, like the whole 3D technology, a 3D camera. They invented that to film that movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They had a whole new technology for filming for that. So yeah,
wow.
He literally has enough stupid money to do these underwater excavations because that's what he loves to do as a hobby. That he will invent a whole new camera to film things
just
in 3D.
To do a movie.
And that's why the whole 3D craze came in afterwards because of the success of that movie. So, he literally changed film in that sense. 3D has not gone away since. There's always been 3D showings of something.
That's true.
So yes, I think just because of think about how breathtaking Avatar was, at least visually.
Oh, yeah.
I have issues with the story, but from it looks beautiful for the time.
Pandora
and still
looks amazing.
It still looks great.
Yeah.
One of the best visual theatrical experiences. Even 10 years later, I can still say that.
Right.
A beautiful movie. To see what he could do 10 years later now with whatever else he's doing. And it's supposed to be mostly underwater, which is his thing, filming underwater at some alien world.
Wow.
See, visually, you're already interested, right?
So Avatar 2 is going to be underwater?
That's the rumor.
Oh, wow.
Which makes sense because that's his thing. So
it could be like Atlantis or something.
It could be like Aquaman, but better. Yeah.
But good.
But yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't really like Aquaman that much. But maybe. I think I wouldn't put it past Cameron, no.
If anybody could do it, it's him. I mean, he has the track record to prove it.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, sidebar. Men in Black.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that, Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth are going to be the new team.
Thor and Valkyrie, they're back together again.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like it. Did you like the trailer or?
Yeah. I'll be honest. I was mostly surprised because I had heard vague rumors there was going to be another one, but I don't know. When it comes to Men in Black, it's like I loved the first movie. Mm-hmm. It's a classic, and then after that, I'm kind of like iffy about it. Mm-hmm. Like I thought Men in Black 2 was okay. I kind of liked the storyline of Men in Black 3, but I still don't think it comes close to the first one.
Another time travel movie. And there's also a part of me that, of course, is like, Will Smith could still do it, but he's not. Yeah.
Like, I kind of wish it was him. I kind of still miss Tommy Lee Jones. I was kind of mad he wasn't really in the third one that much.
That's true.
I still think he could have probably been in it more at the time. So, I think it's a new team, which I think is definitely a good idea. It's good chemistry, obviously. I might say it looks good, but...
would you be upset if there's no Will or Tommy Lee cameo at all?
I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting that, but it would be cool if there was.
I think they set it up with it being international that it probably won't. So it's going to be one of those things where I'm not expecting it, but if they do, even if they mention something like...
There'll be a reference.
That'd be cool, yeah.
Back at the incident of 97 with Agent J and K.
In New York. Yeah.
Something.
They might do something like that, which would be cool.
Rip Torn still alive? I forget.
Is he? I don't know. But he wasn't even in 3.
Oh.
It was, because remember, it's time travel. They went back. It was...
Zed. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, he wasn't in there.
It was, I can't remember.
Was it Emma Thompson?
Yes. Couldn't remember her name. Yes.
Who's the main person in this one? Is it also... It's somebody like Emma Thompson. Who is it? It's somebody, right?
I can't remember.
I don't know. But it looks fun. It looks good. I mean, it's... You know what? I think Men in Black is probably one of those things that's like a genie in a bottle. I think it was very much... It's kind of like Ghostbusters. It's a very unique, weird thing.
Yeah.
It was very much a product of its time. Like, it's a little campy. It's so 90s and so kind of quirky and bizarre. Like, nothing could really ever... You can't really replicate that perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, if it's really slick and actiony... If they can capture the spirit, that's great. But there's something about, like, that weird chemistry between Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. Like, you want to talk about, like, a cop, a buddy cop, like, dynamic you wouldn't think would work, but really does.
That's one of them, definitely.
That's actually, like, one of my favorites. That's an interesting thing. Like, as far as comedy duos go, I mean, like, actually, probably my favorite one for, like, a cop thing is, have you ever seen the 48 Hours movies?
Yeah.
Like Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte.
Yeah.
I think those guys are great together. I wish there had more of those movies.
Right.
They were great. I don't know if I'm in the minority. I know it's not the same thing, but I think Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger were a great comedic duo. And twins.
Twins.
I thought they were pretty good. Like, I thought they were pretty funny together.
That's true, because that is an absurd plot on paper, but somehow that movie works.
Their chemistry, I think, is what sold it. So, yeah, I think that's an example of, like, sort of a weird chemistry you wouldn't think would work, but it really did. Because Will Smith had the charm, and Tommy Lee Jones is really gruff, and they bounce off each other, but it still works. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. So I don't think that Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth will have that clash. It won't be weird enough, because they have such good chemistry, obviously, which is probably why they cast them. But they're both great. Like, I'm sure it'll be fine, but I don't know. You have any expectations for it?
I think, like you said, because of the chemistry, I think it'll be good. I'm interested to see the differences and the similarities between, if this is international, like, between the agencies, pretty much. If they explore that. It seems like they captured it from the trailer, but then again, it's just a trailer, so it's hard to tell. But it's enough to pique my interest.
All right.
Yeah.
When's that coming out? Do you know?
I don't know. Is it the summer?
Probably summer.
I think summer, yeah.
I didn't even realize that. It's one of those ones I wasn't thinking about. There's still so much coming out, like, I think this month. Like, I think we got John Wick I'm looking forward to, and Godzilla. And I think Detective Pikachu comes out this week.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's a lot.
Star-studded.
Star-studded already. Well, something that I actually haven't talked about too much on my channel, But Game of Thrones is in the final stretch.
Yeah. 2 episodes left.
All right.
End of an era.
And another end of an era. And, well, all right, we talked a little bit about this before the show. I know you're a Game of Thrones fan. You've been watching it.
Indeed.
I think it's a very good show for the most part. Really good television. I mean, obviously, I really like it. It hooked me pretty much immediately. I do think that it has lost a little bit of its steam. Like, I think somewhere around season 5 or 6, I started to kind of feel like you could wrap this up. Like, I thought, like, the winter is coming. I personally felt like
it should have been here already.
Like, with all the, like, the side plots, like, it's kind of one of those things in retrospect, if you were going to watch it again, you'd be like, how a lot of this kind of was just really interesting padding. Mm-hmm. Some of it was, but, like, I don't know. I think you could potentially skip a lot of it and not miss much. But maybe that's just me. But I thought that last season, I got really excited that things actually started to happen with the White Walkers,
right,
and the Night King,
right,
and the Whites and the Ice Zombies, and it became like something that they were hyping up for the whole series, and it just became straight up D&D, like adventure, like when Jon Snow and all like the ragtag, you got Tormund, you got the Hound. Like got
that's
Lord,
like my favorite episode.
Like
last
literally,
season.
you got all the warrior crews going out there. Like this is a war party. Like this is kind of the stuff I've been waiting to see for a while. That was my favorite part of that season. Like okay, that was awesome. So this
Beric with the flame sword.
Oh, the flame sword! Like
Gendry with that big hammer axe thing.
Yes, Gendry came back. Like I was
Stormbreaker.
Literally, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna say all my favorite characters are there, but kind of all like the stereotypical badass warriors,
right,
sort of all came together, and they like this awesome. I don't know. There was just something really cool about that.
The Avengers of the Seven Kingdoms,
kind of, and they went deep. Like I'm telling you, this is like a straight up like D&D plot. They go straight into like this ice zombie horde to retrieve a zombie to go back. It's just straight out of like an adventure book. But anyway, my point is, I don't want to sound like I'm ragging on Game of Thrones, but I'm not alone. I found out with this. Not this previous episode, but the one before that. The whole series has been building up to this event. And then you have this really great episode. This fantastic episode with the assault on Winterfell. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Just cinematic scope, the sweeping music. Oh, man. So good.
Could have been brighter, but...
So it was a little dark. That didn't bother me as much, but you're right. It was a little darkly shot. But still... For the most part, pretty awesome. I liked the not that many people died in that episode,
right? But surprisingly,
Theon I think went out great.
He did.
He went out great.
To me, he finally redeemed himself because even after he escaped Ramsay, I was still calling him Reek because he was still acting like Reek.
Yeah,
he wasn't Theon to me. He finally redeemed himself and was Theon Greyjoy once more.
I kind of was starting to get a little behind him after a while. Like I started, like when he rescued Sansa, and he started to try to fight back. I was like, okay, he's getting there. But when you basically have like this ancient, wise god like being saying, "You're a good man," and it's like, and okay, I can go out and I can charge against the Night King and die. I'm like, that was a cool,
because
ending
honestly,
to his character.
Even though he was, that's the funny thing though. I say. To be Theon. Yeah. Yes, when he was Theon, he was, stronger or more brave, but he was also, because of that, he was more arrogant.
He made more mistakes.
Yeah, made more mistakes and was way more arrogant. So, in this sense, he was like the best of himself.
Yeah.
Because he got his strength back and his confidence and his bravery, but yet, through what he had been through, being Reek, that... arrogance and all that was gone. Mm-hmm. He wasn't that anymore. Like he was a better person to the point where Bran said, "You're a good man."
Yet all the worst part of himself got stripped away because he learned about it.
Right.
He learned from it. Yeah, I think as far as writing goes for a character in the show, like development wise, I think so far he might be the best or among the best. Like it's from beginning to end, because his journey's done.
Right.
So I think he's really went through a lot.
And I would say, because I know this is a part of the writing that you hate, But I like it in terms of the fact that character development.
Yeah.
When characters develop over time, it's good because it's like real life. Like people change.
Sure.
Like and it isn't more indicative of real life like a person that you loved in the beginning you hate.
Yeah.
And I'm finding that more with Danny because
the
more she's turning into the Mad Queen, as people are calling her now.
Yeah, that's another issue.
I find myself rooting for her less and less. Now I still like her more than Cersei, but that's another story.
Well, yeah, that's. I kind of wondering if they're.
And I think that they did that on purpose because it's like that in reverse for Sansa because
you start off kind of thinking, oh, she's annoying.
She's annoying. She's naive.
She's weak.
Yeah.
And now it's like she's grown a lot and she's a very strong person.
And that they encapsulate that with the scene in this past episode when she's talking to the Hound. And
he used to be scared of
you. Yeah, you wouldn't even look at me.
I was thinking far worse than you.
And you think about the stuff that she's been through, like, and through her experiences, like learning under everything, like from Joffrey to Littlefinger to Ramsay to Tyrion, like learning something from all of these people. Mm-hmm. Creates this person now, which is,
you bring up a good point as far as development goes. I think I like that line too because she was basically saying, like he's kind of saying, if I had rescued you, you never would have had to go through all that.
Right.
And she's like, that's true, but then I wouldn't be the person I am today, and it's like I'm better for it. Like it's like in life you have to go through these things to kind of become who you are.
Yep.
Taking all the pain. That's true. That's a good point. That is very good. Yeah, she has developed very well
because I like her now. Like she's not like I like how adept she is, how smart she is. She's went from one of the most naive to one of the most smart from season 1 to now.
Definitely,
if you think about it, like even in little stuff like her Dany's plan when she made. Gendry Lord of Storm's End.
Yes.
And then she's talking to Tyrion. It's like, yeah, now I have someone in my corner, basically. And Sansa's looking at like, I know what you're doing. I see that
now
move.
you'll be okay. You got an ally.
That move.
Do you think he would just be practically loyal to her just because she made him a lord? I know we're probably not going to find that.
I think in theory she thinks so. But honestly, no, because he's in love with Arya, and Arya doesn't like her, so...
Yeah, I don't know if that's...
I think he would follow what Arya said, honestly.
And we're getting sidetracked from the one thing I was annoyed about. But I want to stick with this for a second. Just help me remember if I forget.
Right.
But I think the Daenerys thing, on one hand, I think they're making her more unlikable now so that if there is potentially a hero we want to see, it kind of will make sense because, like I was thinking that might just be a ploy with television, but because it's Game of Thrones and it likes to be complicated, I think it also speaks to your point in reverse. And I was thinking back about it. Daenerys is somebody that we've always kind of rooted for because she's the rightful heir to the throne, technically speaking.
Right.
But one thing they haven't really addressed too much in the show, I think they might maybe do a little more in the books, but Daenerys really only kind of wants to get the throne back because she sort of wants revenge for her life being destroyed. And Daenerys never really seemed like she really wanted to be a ruler. She just kind of got almost forced into that by expectations of the people around her. And quite frankly, even though her family were the rulers beforehand, her father was the Mad King, was basically a bad person. Her brother was evil. We get the impression her family were kind of not the best people. So it's like, it's almost like they're hinting she might have some of those traits. And we're seeing more and more of that since last season with some of the...
Except for what we found out later, Rhaegar. Supposedly he was the good Targaryen, but they killed him anyway.
Exactly. So I'm wondering if... I don't know if they're simply saying she's evil because she's in this family, but it's almost like she might have more of those traits and she might not actually be that much of a ruler because now that she's actually getting closer to the power, it actually seems more like she just kind of wants it for the sake of wanting it. And I don't know if they're just doing that to make it easier for us to dislike her in the end, because for the most part she's been so likable.
Yeah.
So maybe she's getting corrupted by her own power in a way.
That's what they say it is. Like, she's getting power hungry. And because it's been, I wouldn't say easy, but every challenge that she's come up against, she's won.
True.
So to her, I guess in her mind, it's just like, I've done this before. I've had obstacles. I've beat them all. From where I've come from and where I've been now, it's just my dad. And like you said, she thinks she's the rightful heir.
You know what I think? I think she should just have her kingdoms across the sea. It's like she said, everybody likes her over there.
Right.
Like, does she really want to be, like, ruling these people out here? Like, what's the point? She already has, like, what, 2 kingdoms?
Yeah.
I mean, she's got the Dothraki, some left now.
I mean, whoever's left.
Whoever's left that still worship her as the
last
queen.
7 of them.
Khaleesi. The last 7. That was... I'm going to talk about that. It was messed up. That was so... I mean, it was an ominous, great thing, but I'm also like, it was stupid.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, I guess the Dothraki are gone. And then...
All of them.
But just about all of them. Okay, let's just put in our heavy hitters. Like, send in some scouts first. Like, why'd you just...
to at least see what's going on in that dark side over
like the dark shadow. It was a great scene, but in retrospect, it's like kind of stupid. But and okay, she's got them. She's got the Unsullied, and she's got all those freed.
Half of them are gone.
Half of them are gone. But all those freed slaves, the people that love her, and I'm just like,
yeah, because Essos is pretty big.
Like it's
geographically, they make it seem like it's huge. So she could have a pretty large kingdom if she just
wants to get over the past desire to. It's just about stupid bloodlines, and I don't know. And of course, that speaks to the rivalries that they're mimicking in history.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think she should just be fine, and I just it's kind of great. It's also kind of annoying though. You think everything's gonna be fine, but then they know you put in that little bit of information and. I mean, one person finds out, then everyone finds out, and then and then they're going to be pitted against each other. You just know that even though these are characters you know are better than everybody else, they're still going to fall prey to the same petty stuff that's been going on with everybody else. It's still the Game of Thrones. It's just like, no.
Which is the point. Which is why, that's the 2 reasons why I'm okay with episode 3.
Okay.
Because I know a lot of people, like you were saying, so much build up with the Night King and the White Walkers and the Whites and all that. And it's kind of anticlimactic, at least from the Night King's perspective, because the Whites, that was payoff.
Yeah, like
that part was
That whole the whole episode would have been great. I just think that there could have been a little more with him, a little more explored with the threat. I think
the rest of the White Walkers, they didn't do anything either.
Yeah,
they just stood next to him.
Like that's the thing. I didn't like the fact that it was that classic. Oh, you take out the queen bee and everybody goes out that kill Ultron. All his. I don't like that. That's kind of lazy. Like I was okay with maybe like all the walkers. Okay, he loses control of them. But I was from what I understand, the White Walkers, they are a separate race. I was pretty sure.
That's what I thought.
Like, I thought they were a separate race, and the Night King was just their most powerful leader. He was the king. He ruled people.
Right.
These other people were sentient, and they had some powers too. So I was like, maybe we could talk to them. Maybe we could find out more about them, get them on our side. Maybe they'd be a minor threat. We could still fight. I just thought that because they have limited episodes, they ran through it.
Maybe that was the plan, but because
time.
Yeah, you gotta just wrap up.
Look, the Night King was so cool in that episode.
Yep.
And then he went out anticlimactically.
Yeah.
Kind of like a bitch. Like, I'm sorry. I mean, I know.
But the move was a cool move.
It was a cool move.
That move was great. I didn't see that coming at all.
Okay, I was fine with, like I said, him dying. Sure. But like, I thought it kind of wiped everything else under the rug too quickly. Like, it's like, oh, well, wash your hands of that.
And that's why, because I
it's
think
annoying.
because the practicality of it is, it's only 6 episodes. Yes, we did build this up, but we kind of like screwed ourselves because we don't have the time to
and he's not done with the book.
Go through with and we don't have time to fully play this out like we want to. We got to wrap this up because ultimately it is the Game of Thrones.
So it's more about who's going to be the ruler.
Right.
Which has been the main focus of the show, but I always liked the idea that there was a threat that was bigger than all that.
Like, I feel if it was 2 more seasons, you could have seen if this was season 8. Season 8 could have been the whole season about the Night King and the White Walkers.
Yeah.
And then that ends with that, and then one more season dealing with the actual who's going to end up on the Iron Throne at the end. Now with it being 8, just one season and 6 episodes, even though they're longer, it's still, because this show is so big and epic, it's still gonna, no matter what you do, it's gonna feel like it's rushed. You know, like they have to wrap things up to the best that they can.
And that's my main problem with it. You're right. If this had been a primary season focused on the war with them and explored a little more, I would have been fine with it.
Right.
But you're right. It's just they have to cram everything into one season.
Because you definitely could have had a bunch of smaller battles before they even got to Winterfell. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With them fighting the other generals, lieutenants, if you will.
And building up to the Night King.
Yeah. Of them beating them and fighting them and them losing people. You could have more people lost.
Died.
Yeah. You know, which I think kind of what they wanted to do. I would hope.
Now it's just everybody's going to die in the next episode.
Yeah. We just got to wrap it up. All right. Because we only have 2 more episodes to do. We just got to wrap everything up.
Kind of makes me, I have no idea what's going to happen in the last 2. Wow.
Yeah. Well, they say that episode 5 is the one. Like, people think 3 was the one, but 5 is the one.
So 5 is the one, which means the last one will hopefully be Fallout and just
wrapping
things
who actually ends up on the throne.
Which would be nice. If it's possible to have a semi-happy ending with the last episode. Maybe. It's going to be bittersweet.
Who do you think will end up on the throne?
You know, it would be so cliche, but I really would like it if Jon ended up on the throne. And they're really saying, and I remembered, and they said that classic thing, which I mentioned when I was watching. I'm like, well, you know, that's the best trait of a king, is that, you know, somebody that's a man of the people doesn't really want to rule. And they even say that, well, don't you think the person that should be the person rule is the person that doesn't really want it? Because they don't have, it's like, which I'm just like, that would be kind of cool, but I don't know. I like the theory that Tyrion could end up on the throne somehow, but I don't think that's going to happen anymore.
Not now.
Not anymore. No, it's probably going to be Jon.
But don't you notice how Jon is like that character? We talk about this. I'm in a group on Facebook about it. Jon is like, he keeps failing upward.
Upward.
He doesn't want any of this. Like he's like the guy at your job. Deeper. Like he hates the job, but he keeps getting promoted. Like he does stupid stuff, and then he would get fired. He wouldn't care, but he keeps getting promoted.
Huh.
Like that's Jon. Like he's
falling into it.
Falling into these things. Like he's leading the Night Watch, and then he somehow becomes Warden of the North, and he didn't want it.
It's now because it's his destiny.
Now I'm a Targaryen, and I'm actually supposed to run. I didn't want any of this.
Which is maybe why he's like that's something he's destined to do, because he's such a pure-hearted good guy.
That's what
And if you're going for, but that's the thing. You're going for these traditional fantasy tropes, and Game of Thrones is always about subverting that stuff. I don't know.
So he may die in episode 5, and
then I'm like, well, I hope it's not like Cersei doesn't win or something. Like
that would be crazy.
Like if the villain, all of that, like the villain somehow wins at the end. That wouldn't. I think people would actually be mad. But in honesty, if it wasn't Jon, I don't know who else it would be. I think
unless Dany keeps it. Plot twist. Well, now they can't, because I was thinking like plot twist. What if Dany kills Jon to keep the secret? But now the secret's out, so it wouldn't matter.
So yeah, she wouldn't be able to keep control of everything.
Which is why I thought it was stupid. I mean, for story's sake, I know they had to do it, but theoretically,
why?
If Jon doesn't want it, he already said, "I don't want to be king. I pledge my allegiance to you. I bend the knee." Why wouldn't he go along with her plan and just not say anything?
And she's like, there is a way for us all to live together. Don't tell anybody about this. And then he's like, well, I can't lie to my family because I'm such an honorable guy. I have to tell
my family who I know doesn't like you.
Which, did you notice, he's becoming more and more like Ned.
Yeah.
He's like, he's digging himself in some script.
He's being too righteous to a fault, to where he ends up.
His principles.
He's going to end up with his head on a pike like Ned.
Well, all right. If Jon wouldn't be king, who do you think would be a good substitute? Because I always wanted, what's his name again? Robert's bastard son.
Oh, Gendry.
Gendry. Like, I know that he He probably won't be. But I always thought he would be kind of great because he's also a guy that doesn't want it, who would have a claim, and they hinted about that.
Right.
I always thought that he would be a good king, honestly, just because he had the he was a man of the people. If he ended up on the throne, I'd be okay with it. I don't think they'll do that, but
it's a long shot. But I'd be fine with that too. I like him, although he had to know that Arya is not going to be somebody's housewife. Like, come on, guy, you got to know.
Oh yeah, I guess we didn't talk about that. Yeah, the Jamie and Brienne, I guess, hooked up, which was like which was interesting.
Years in the making.
I guess so. So that made people happy, I guess.
A lot of people wanted her to end up with Tormund.
I would have been cool with that too because he also respected her and liked her, and I definitely think that would have been the more fun.
Right.
If Jamie dies, maybe.
Maybe they'll meet up somehow because he's gone, so he doesn't.
Well,
after he found out, like, oh well, the chick I wanted, she's with
the other
dude. I'm out of here.
Which I guess that does mean Tormund will be okay, and I guess Sam will be all right.
Sam and Gilly.
So that'll be good. They're okay.
With child.
Yes, they know how it happens. Name him John.
Yeah.
He's a girl.
I'm still upset about Lady Mormont.
Yeah, but she went out in a cool way, though.
She did. I mean, if there's any way to go out, the smallest character took out a giant. Come on.
There you go.
What could you ask for? But, Jorah died doing what he loved the most, protecting the Khaleesi.
Khaleesi.
Ed died protecting his brothers of the Night Watch.
Mm-hmm.
It's all very thematic.
It is.
Beric died protecting the one that would save us all, like it was prophesied.
Yep.
It's all very. I like the.
It fit everything. The pieces fit. Yeah, together.
I like how that fit.
Yeah, that's cool. Everyone kind of met an end that they would probably be happy with.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I guess the Hound's probably going to kill the Mountain.
Yeah. Do you think he can do it though?
Maybe if he teams up with Grey Worm. Because Grey Worm's probably got an eye for the Mountain.
Oh, yeah, because he killed his Missandei.
Which I know you didn't like the fact that they just found her. Like in the ocean somewhere.
I did not like that. As many ships as there were in that ocean, and as many ships as they had, and they caused all that carnage, blew up all them ships. It's no way they should have found her. I'm sorry.
I was figuring she was just going to be impaled or dead. I was like, okay,
that's what. Yeah,
dead.
I would rather think that she would wash up on the shore somewhere rather than her be found.
And
just for her to die. And once they call, I'm like, she's gonna die. That's it.
Yeah.
Because it's inevitable. Cersei is gonna use her as bait to say, "Bend to my will." Dany's gonna be like, "No, I'm not doing that." And then she's gonna follow through. She's been following through forever. She's gonna kill her.
Oh man.
Oh, that sucks. I thought Grey Worm would die before she did. Though.
Yeah. That surprised me too. I thought he was gonna be dead in the battle with.
I did too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because it looked like, wasn't there when the whites were like all over him at one point?
They were all over everybody, but you couldn't see.
That's true. Because it got to the point, I was like, oh, well, there he is.
Well, Brienne and Jamie were both like overrun by White Walkers, but you were like, okay, well, they're dead.
Against the wall. Like they were just about to die.
And they cut away, like, oh, I guess they're still alive.
Still alive.
Okay.
But I knew, back to Brienne, I knew she was going to pick Jamie, like, because she's secretly been in love with him for years. And it kind of sucks. And this Jamie is an idiot.
What?
He had it. He wanted a different life.
Mm-hmm.
He had it. It's fine. He could have stayed in the north with Brienne.
Nope, he's got to go.
But he just has to go back to Cersei.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't. But I don't know what it is about.
He's in love with her.
Which is weird.
It's weird. It's very weird. He's got a, I don't know, he's got a thing for her still and feels responsible for her, loyal to her, doesn't want her to, yeah, which is why he's probably going to kill her.
Which is going to be crazy. You think that she's going to say something about the baby now in front of him? Because she told Jamie before he left that the baby was his, which it was.
Yeah.
But then she told Euron that it's his.
So...
Because she was pregnant before Jamie left King's Landing.
True.
and she said it was his, which it was because she wasn't with anybody else. But when she got with Euron, she was already pregnant, but she told him it was his. Now she just told him that.
Yes.
So that's going to create. I think that's going to create some static,
some rivalry, some fighting. I hate that guy. By the way, least favorite character in Game of Thrones. This guy comes out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
Like season 7. Like, dude, get out of here. Like, who are you? Like, with your ships. Just get out of here.
Theon and, I forgot it. His sister, I forgot her name.
Yes.
They were like in the running to run, what are they, Iron Islands? Yeah. And then here he comes out of nowhere. Oh, yeah, I was at sea. By the way, I'm taking over. What?
Who are you? Like, that was... I don't know. He just seems like he's just so... Like,
and I know you're my niece and nephew, but, you know, because of that, I'll let you leave if you try to... I'll kill you if you try to come up against me.
It's just like you're this deep into this drama with all these characters, and this guy who doesn't really much stake in anything comes in.
I don't know.
It seems a bit weird. I don't know.
Although I do... Side note, I think it is great casting, because he does look like Theon.
He does.
He does look like Theon, so he could be related to him. But yeah, I don't like that guy either. He's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh, also is another thing I don't like in theory, but I know practically it has to do that. The pacing is ridiculous. Like, you know, it's the last season. Like, you know, before, how many episodes would it take them to get from Winterfell to King's Landing?
Normally?
Yeah.
Oh, this season.
Yeah, and they just went from Winterfell to King in half a scene.
Yeah, they skipped it. They're like, you know.
Yeah, it's like, come on. And I get why. It's the last season. They only got 6 episodes. But it makes you think back, and it creates this... it just takes you out of it, for me anyway. Like, this is ridiculous. How are they here already?
Because we got to speed things up.
Yeah.
That's why.
It's great. See, I guess that's good that it's...
See, that's the thing. There's good elements, but it's definitely very mixed last season so far. Who knows? Maybe the ending will
hopefully
make it worth it.
You think the spin-offs will, or prequels, they have prequels and sequels or whatever they're going to be, you think they're going to help?
They're going to have to, because someone pointed out to me today that, once Game of Thrones ends, there's going to be a big hole for HBO to fill.
Absolutely, yeah.
What are they going to do? Do they have any other big shows that are really on the same level?
On that level, no. No.
They're going to have to find some other property that's similar. It'd be cool if they could tackle like another big fantasy or sci-fi thing. Do something different on that same scale to get something. I don't know what they do next.
That's true.
They'd have to. That would be. Has HBO done any like big sci-fi stuff on that level? I don't think they have. They don't really do sci-fi, do they?
Not really, especially not on a series level.
No, I don't think they have. Really, for the most part, they do the dramas and the comedies, but they're usually pretty grounded in reality. Game of Thrones is the most fantastical thing they've ever done.
It's the biggest thing they've done.
So it would be so... Could you imagine if they had the same people put like that Game of Thrones writing and money into like a big space opera?
That would be great.
Like I want HBO to do like the next Star Wars or some show or something.
The only other thing that's been is like not as big in scope, but like sci-fi kind of thing is Westworld.
Yes, Westworld's pretty big.
It's pretty big
on HBO. People like Westworld, but probably not Game of Thrones.
No, it's not Game of Thrones big, but it's pretty big.
I didn't watch season 2. Was season 2 good?
Season's pretty good, but you have to pay attention. I think that I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's coming back or not, but you have to pay attention because they do the thing like Lost. Time thing, like you have a present and then the flashback timeline and then flash forward timeline and then later flash sideways.
Is there a flashpoint at any point?
But this one you really have to pay attention because they do those different time periods, but it's the present and then there's like last week and then like 2 weeks ahead. Like they're different time periods, but they're close. They're so close that you think it's one time period that you're watching, but it's not. And they do that on purpose, I guess, to create more twists.
Wow.
But it can get very confusing if you're not paying attention.
HBO has the Watchmen show, right?
Yes, that's not out yet though.
That's not out yet.
I'm interested in that.
Is that a sequel? Prequel?
It's gonna be a prequel, I think.
Okay.
Because it's gonna be a series
Before Watchmen or something.
Yeah, I think so. I'm interested in that.
All right. Yeah, it would be kind of cool. HBO's got to scramble.
I think that's it in terms of their fantasy.
They don't have much.
Yeah.
And I don't think many other of those networks have much either. Showtime. Well, there's a couple. I think there was Outlander. Was that the time travel Scottish ones? That was Stars or something.
Vikings. I don't know if that's still on anymore.
Vikings is on History Channel.
Yeah.
And actually, I haven't caught up yet because I guess the new season's not on Hulu. But I love Vikings.
It's good.
We watched a lot of Vikings when we were having our dry spell for Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
We caught up on Vikings. Like, Vikings is not like Game of Thrones level, but it's pretty good. And the thing I like about Vikings is it's actually based on history, so
okay.
it's fun. And I remember the thing about Vikings was, like years ago, I tried to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
The first couple episodes, I'm like, that's okay, but you get it. You do get into it. Like Rhaegar is a really cool character. I don't know. Did you watch any of it?
I haven't.
I'd give it a chance. Honestly, if you can, if you're not into it by the first season, I'd say that's fine. But
how many seasons is it?
I think it's on season 6. Huh?
Oh,
so that's a good show. It's
maybe I'll get after Game of Thrones. I'll just
like it's
supplement.
It's definitely a good Game of Thrones supplement. if you want that like kind of medieval combat, it's cool. It's not bad. I like that one. But yeah, Vikings isn't bad.
There was a short-lived show on FX that they were trying to get some of the Game of Thrones audience called The Bastard Executioner.
I vaguely remember that.
It was pretty good. It only lasted a season. I watched it because it was Kurt Sutter created the show, the same guy that created Sons of Anarchy, which I'm a fan of.
I like that show.
So it's basically like a medieval type of Sons of Anarchy. So there's a lot of violence and a lot of.
I should try to get back into Sons of Anarchy. You know when I kind of lost interest in it?
When?
Was when they went to Ireland.
Oh yeah.
I kind of lost interest after that point.
Yeah.
So I'd probably have to get back into it.
It's pretty good. I say get back into it.
Yeah, I like Ron Perlman, so it was pretty cool.
It's good.
But yeah, we deviate a lot.
We did.
We got one last topic here, which is pretty. It's awesome what happened. In a way, because but I have to ask you,
like we've been heard.
Like no, like fans are heard. How did they think that? Like, you can obviously animate. Like they showed stills of what you can do. I think animating Sonic the Hedgehog to look more like he does and have him fit in live action would be just odd. Why did they? I can't believe that was easier. It just looked so.
It looked weird.
He looks weird. It's funny to say that Sonic the Hedgehog, which is a really silly looking character, can look weird.
Yeah.
But the thing they put on screen just was not quite right.
You gotta look like the source material. Like
yeah, I mean
the regular looking eyes, the teeth. He was taller than normal.
It was the proportion. Yeah, yeah. And I just think that the little shifts made a huge difference. They could have.
Yeah. Like, I will give them kudos on how he looks when he runs.
Yeah,
I like that.
Like, the effects when he runs look cool.
And I like I forgot what he calls it when he...
The spin cycle?
Yeah, when he goes into the ball, and that looked cool.
Like, that's the thing about the trailer, though, is that while I didn't really like the way Sonic's design was, I thought the action and his personality and how it bounced off with the comedy I saw looked like it could be fun. Yeah. It actually looked like it could be a fun movie, but he just looked horrifying.
And, Jim Carrey looks awesome.
He does, actually.
Do you know the reason why they changed Robotnik's name?
What's he called in this?
Dr. Eggman.
Oh, because well, in some versions he's known as Doctor Eggman, like in the games and stuff.
Okay.
Like I think in Japanese, Doctor Robotnik is Doctor Eggman.
Okay.
It's kind of he's got like two names.
Okay. Because I was like, because I'm not too well versed. I was like, I thought it was Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah, some games he's Eggman because he's shaped like an egg, which makes even less sense because he's not really a big guy. He's very slim to Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
But he looks like he's having fun with the role. I think he'll be a good villain.
Right.
My one buddy, Anime Hero, he's a big Sonic fan. He said he didn't really like the fact that the robots were too sleek looking. They look like more like Transformers. They don't look like the big colorful video game style bots that he had.
Yeah, that's true.
Remember in the games, he always abducts the animal people and makes them cybernetic, and they're all like weird looking, themed, colorful. I thought that was interesting. Maybe there will be more robots that are like that, but they looked pretty much like your basic run of the mill machine gun toting transformer type things.
Right.
Yeah. Do you think? I don't know. Do you think it's possible that if they get the redesign to make it look like the fans want it, that it could be a decent video game movie? And I know the bar is set pretty low for that because, and I don't want to I don't want this to go into a really big discussion, but it is an interesting point because there are so many people that are just video game movies are so bad and they can't be good, and I'm like. But you played plenty of games, and how many of them have really good plots that they're basically just interactive movies?
Yeah.
Just take the cutscenes and copy them, make them a movie, and maybe you won't like it as much as playing the game. But having a movie based on a game work, I don't understand it. Do you think it's that maybe some people pointed this out too? They're trying to take the most popular characters to use their IP to sell tickets, but generally speaking, the classic platformers like Mario and Sonic, there's not really much story there. I guess you could have a lot of colorful visuals, but
that's a good point.
But I don't want to say that either, though, because a lot of the later games and the comics, Sonic does have a lore too. He's got a story.
But now at this point,
but how many of the old school fans would really be interested what that guy that just goes around collecting the rings and bopping robots on the head and then beating up the fat guy at the end, it's weird. I don't know, is it too outlandish? It's I don't know. What do you think the issue is? Is it that they just don't care enough to put the time into it? I never really got that.
That's a good point. I don't know. I feel like they have to think that I think it's basically studio driven, and you know how studio driven, they don't get the best results.
No, you don't think there's anybody that has a lot of creative control and focus, that cares a lot about the game, and that they have full control? It's there's just a studio. What do they call that? I always forget the term. The studio tested, just committee based.
Yeah, which is ironic because you would think that the bottom line would be make more money. So the money's in the sequels, and you keep making these movies. But if the first ones don't do well,
no one's gonna
go. Yeah. So that's where that's why it's hard to answer, because you would think they would want to have more sequels and
more quality.
Yeah. Or maybe they think that, like you were saying, there's not much story. Oh, well, they love the game, and the game isn't much story. They can just put a movie together.
But no.
But movies are different.
For Sonic, you're right. It is fun to just play an old school Sonic game, but to watch a movie, you have to have more than just pretending to emulate that.
Yeah.
Because you got to have the scenes to hold it together.
Yeah.
It's they think that audiences don't care enough about that, which you'd think they know if they're a movie company. They get that.
I think if they had a story, and my thing is with Sonic,
he's an alien in this or something.
This is weird. Yeah,
but he's a hedgehog, so is he like an alien hedgehog?
And they drop him in the real world for whatever reason.
I hate when they do that. Could they make a cartoon?
They had the scene where apparently some rings teleport you to other places. That's what it looked like.
Sure. So you don't think they should have mixed it with live action in the real world? They should have made it more like his own world.
Pretty much.
So more of an animated movie.
Like you could have. I'm trying to see, because if it's a movie, maybe just go that route.
Huh.
Because if you want to have people in it, it's kind of hard, because within that game you would want to, because every different level is a different
Stage.
World, so to speak. He could travel through the different, like he's trying to get to Robotnik, but he keeps evading him, and he can go through the Green Hill Zone and the next zone, the Emerald Zone or whatever.
Sure.
That would be cool, because you could see like a more visual movie version of these levels that you played. But it's hard to do something like that if you just plop him in the real world. Now he's with humans.
But I guess you said, like, with the rings, maybe he could teleport to some of those. Like, oh, look, he's in this world. Remember that?
I think that's what they're going to try.
And have some of the music in the background for each stage.
I think that's what they're going to try.
Be kind of cool. Like, I think that's cute, I guess. But it's not enough to, like, hold a movie together. You know, you can't just get by on references alone. Although, I will say, even though the Hitman movies, the last one that came out was really bad, and it had a story that had nothing to do really with any of the games, which are fine stories, I did like the little things they got right, like how he moved, his tie, when he got into different costumes, and he had the.
I liked that part. I hated the story, but I liked him.
Like, the story was terrible, but they got the feel of the character and how he moved in the game right. I liked those. Like, it's cool they did that, but you still need.
And I'm always surprised with like that type of stuff. Hitman it's
got a story.
Yeah.
Like
multiple. There's multiple. Like you could have just
copy one of them.
Just copy the story. I don't get that. I have no
explanation for it.
Absolutely.
And like Assassin's Creed, you ever see that one?
Yeah.
That was horrible. Like why? And I don't know. I don't want to go off on a tangent about it, but okay. To wrap it up, I guess. What do you think the best video game movie has been so far? What's the gold standard? I know it's probably still poop standard, but the gold standard.
Honestly, we want to go. All right, there's different. You want to go major release?
Whatever.
If we're doing major release, the first Mortal Kombat.
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
I would say that
it was pretty.
Annihilation was horrible, but
yeah,
the first Mortal Kombat.
It was fun.
Yeah,
it's actually fun.
Had a story. You got to see all your characters and everything,
and they actually had more story than the games did at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Kudos to Mortal Kombat recently in the past 5 years, like
incorporating more.
I don't know which one that was, but was it 9 or 8? Whichever one that started that, where they went all the way back and like incorporated every single game, like the stages that you fight in the past. They put a story, but amazing. But anyway, I would say that major release Mortal Kombat.
So there's a minor release you think did a good job? I don't even know.
I liked Dead or Alive, the Dead or Alive movie.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah, see, it was like a DVD, straight to DVD movie. It was actually, you know what? The Tekken movie was pretty good too.
Tekken movie.
There's a live action Tekken movie too.
Huh.
I think that might edge out Dead or Alive.
Really?
It's one of those ones. I don't think it came out in the States. That's why.
Oh.
But I saw it on DVD. So check those out if you're bored and not
Maybe.
There's a Dead or Alive movie and a Tekken movie.
I think a lot of people didn't like it, but I think the Ratchet and Clank movie was animated, but I didn't think that was too terrible.
I didn't even see that. I didn't know they had.
I mean, it bombed or something. It wasn't like a great movie, but from what little I saw of the games, I thought it was pretty close. It looked like just the cutscenes from the games to me. So I don't know. I don't think it's impossible, but
and if we're going fan made, it's hard. It's between Mortal Kombat, the Mortal Kombat when it came out on YouTube, and the Dark Series Power Rangers when it came out. That was pretty good.
The Dark Power Rangers.
That was pretty good. A more serious take on Power Rangers.
So dark. I'd be down for that though. If they rebooted Power Rangers, kind of like I guess they kind of already did, but they made it more serious than an adult like that. That'd be cool. Did you see the Power Rangers movie? The 2017?
Yeah.
I thought it was okay.
It was okay.
It was okay.
It was okay.
It was actually not terrible.
A lot of Krispy Kreme, but it was okay.
I did Krispy Kreme, but they incorporated it into the plot.
Yeah.
The only thing I actually didn't like was I thought the Zords were really ugly. Like the Zords battle, that was all ugly.
I hated Goldar.
Goldar was dumb.
I did hate that.
Rita was cool though.
Yeah.
She was pretty decent. She was about accurate.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was pretty accurate. Goldar was stupid though. He just made out of gold.
Yeah.
Goldar needs to be the big wolf
dripping gold monster. Yeah.
Just make him the wolf guy in the suit.
Yeah. Why not? Keep it simple.
You know, Power Rangers should be simple, except when it's not. Sometimes they get kind of nutty.
Right.
Eventually.
And you could tell they tried to make that one a little more serious too.
That was a bit darker.
Yeah, because you see the prior Rangers dead.
Yeah, they had that. Yeah, they kind of had an homage to the serious Rangers, the war beforehand with Zordon, which is cool. Bryan Cranston.
He was a good Zordon.
Did you know why he did that?
Why?
Because that's how he got his start in Power Rangers. He did some of the voices of the monsters and stuff.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So he wanted to do it because that's kind of he owed his career to Power Rangers, kind of.
Wow, that's cool.
See, Bryan Cranston's a cool dude.
Yeah.
You never would have guessed that.
He is cool.
I wish he was in that Godzilla movie more. I wish he'd do more stuff. Like, we need more Bryan Cranston just in general. But
I never thought when he was the goofy dad on Malcolm in the Middle.
I know
how great of an actor he actually is.
Like, I liked him way back in the day, Malcolm in the Middle. But like, I remember when Breaking Bad came out, and I was like, wait a minute, like that guy from Malcolm, he's doing this like hardcore drug drama, and I'm like, what? Like, okay, and it's just like, wow, the guy can do anything.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. All right, man. Well, we are getting to that like 2-hour mark.
Well, hey, you know,
I think that could be a record.
Could be, but I figured it wouldn't be quick if we're talking Avengers and Game of Thrones.
Well, yeah,
those two heavy hitters.
I knew that was going to happen, but it's been a while, so I thought
that too. It's been a while.
It made sense, but no, man, some good topics. Any final thoughts, comments, questions before we sign off?
I'd say comic book movies are here to stay. I'm here for it. I'm still here for it all, even DC stuff. I just hope I'm not disappointed at the end of Game of Thrones. It's been a long journey. Winter is here, and I hope winter doesn't disappoint.
Yes, I second that. But regardless, I think Avengers was pretty awesome.
Yes.
Definitely awesome.
That's an example of an ending of an era paying off.
And I'll tell you what, it probably will be at least a couple weeks before I might get you back on, but I do know that by then there'll have been some movies I'll probably have seen, because I'm going to plan on seeing. We might see Detective Pikachu actually, but I'm definitely going to hit up John Wick and Godzilla probably by the end of the month, if not next month. So maybe if you see some of those, we can talk more.
Yeah.
And maybe I can finally get into some of the Flash stuff, because, man, Flash has been good.
Indeed.
Flash has been good. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for listening. If you have any comments or anything, just let us know, and we'll sign off.
Indeed.
Stay magical.